Hi everyone, welcome to another one of our impromptu lives. And today's topic is going to be on how to overcome the feeling of lack of enoughness. Before we begin, I will just check if you're doing fine internet wise, because yesterday we had quite a bit of interruptions. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think we're doing fine. All right, let's begin. For those of you attending this for the very first time, how we go about this is that I explain to you a topic in depth, and you can ask me as many questions as you want about it. Internet issues again. I think we're fine now. I'm really irritated by this, but unfortunately, I don't have any control over it. Okay, let's start. All right. Now, coming back to the topic, overcoming the feeling of lack of enoughness. As I was saying, that if you're attending this for the very first time, I explained to you topic in depth. You can ask me as many questions as you want in the comment section. And if you are watching this as a recording, which is something a lot of my clients do and a lot of my community members do, you can just put your question in the comment section, or you can always reach out to me in my DMs if you're in my communities, WhatsApp communities. Then you have my number, so you can always DM me there as well. Now, before we understand how do we overcome lack of enoughness, let's first understand what does enoughness even mean, right? And again, I want you to take a moment and ask this question to yourself: what does enoughness mean to me? Like, if you're watching this video, you probably have felt lack of enoughness. You've probably felt that I'm not enough, or I'm not big, I'm not important enough, or I'm not talented enough, or I'm just not a good enough person, right, to do whatever it is that you wanted to do. So if you have felt that, I want you to define it for yourself. What does lack of enoughness mean to you? Now, enoughness in itself is not something that we can measure. Okay, enoughness is not something that you can measure in kilos or in mls or whatever it is, right? It is immeasurable. It is like love, right? You can't really measure love, right? Because how a person loves depends on how their inner world is. The intensity of a person's love depends on many things. Their love language, the how deeply they feel, the relationship they have with themselves, right? So there are a lot of parameters when we say that this person is somebody who loves a lot, right? Because it is so vague, right? Like, sometimes when people look at people who are very emotional, or people who are very expressive, as someone as someone as somebody who loves too much, we look at them and we feel like, oh, this person loves too deeply. Whereas there could be somebody else who shows up in everything, in every time you need help, somebody who's always there, standing by you like a rock, but they're not very expressive. So how do we decide that the person who expresses a lot is somebody who loves more, or it is the person who always stands by you? Now, we may all have different definitions. Maybe I may say that somebody who stands by you is somebody who loves you more, but maybe you may say that no, somebody who expresses their love makes me feel valued, so I value that more. So just the way how deeply somebody loves is a very immeasurable, very vague quality. It's the same thing with enoughness, right? So that is why enoughness is not something you measure. Enoughness is something that you feel from inside, where basically you feel safe enough to go out there and do something, right? It is an internal concept of safety, where you feel safe, where you feel that um, you know no matter what happens outside of me, the inside of me will always stay intact, right? My relationship with myself will always stay intact. That is enoughness. And enoughness is a decision. Okay. Enoughness is not something that you can go out there and earn every single day. It is not real. It is something that you have inside of you, and it is a decision that you make, that the way I am, it is enough. Now the question becomes, how does one make a decision like that? Specifically, somebody who feels I'm not enough. You may ask me that, Riyanshi, I understand the concept, but how do I decide this? I don't feel it. I don't actually have that. I have that. So I don't feel that I have that. So how do I make a decision that I do? So here I want you to come to a little bit of a backstory of how does enoughness actually develop, right? And similarly, as I said, that enoughness is this internal safety. It is a relationship that you share with yourself. Similarly, lack of enoughness suggests that you do not share a strong relationship with yourself. Okay, a strong relationship is where you share an unconditional love and support with yourself, with your inner children, right? The younger versions of you that live inside of you, that those are your inner children. So you don't share a strong enough relationship with them, and that is why the lack of enoughness keeps on coming again and again, right? It may come, let's say, it may sometimes come from a 5-year-old version of you, sometimes it may come from a college going version of you, sometimes it may come from a 3-year-old version of you, right? So there are versions of you inside of you, right, specifically in the past, who experienced lack of enoughness, right, and they never healed from it. So now you share that relationship with them, right? You share that flimsy, broken relationship with your inner children, and that is where lack of enoughness comes up again and again. And that is why, even though you may be doing great in life as an adult, right? Maybe you have a good job or a good business, you have a loving relationship, people around you appreciate you, yet you may feel lack of enoughness, right? So now let's understand, how does enoughness actually develop? Like, where does this start? Why is it that some people are able to feel it easily, and why is it that for some people, no matter how much they do, they never feel it? Okay. Just give me 1 second. I will again check my internet. I have a bit of a paranoia that it's gone. Okay. I think we are doing fine. Okay. I think we're doing fine. If it does get stuck, I apologize. I really don't have control over this, and I am not getting any other time slot to come live. So, unfortunately, it's going to rain in Bangalore too. Although I'm not in Bangalore right now, it's going to rain in Bangalore for the next 2 months. So, just the way it happened last year, I am afraid it's going to happen this year as well, wherein my lives are going to appear very dodgy because of the internet connection that goes to the garbage when it's raining. So yeah, we're gonna have to make do with it. Okay, coming back. How does enoughness actually develop? So you have to understand that the enoughness that you feel inside of you, basically your relationship with yourself, that is something that you share within you. It comes from your childhood experiences, right? It comes from how you are treated, the response that you get from your environment, the feedback that you get from your environment. And where does this feedback come from? From your parents, from the environment that you're growing up, right? Your primary caregivers are your parents, and you basically tend to rely on your parents to make you feel anything, right? That is why whenever a child is experiencing something, and let's say something not so ideal is happening around him. For example, let's say a child's parents is fighting in front of him. A child is not going to have you know, the logical understanding of thinking that, okay, my parents are just fighting about something. The child is going to blame himself. That's a thing, because as a child, you tend to believe that whatever is happening, it is my fault, it is my responsibility, because whatever is happening outside of you, you take it as a feedback to yourself, right? Whatever is happening, you take it as a feedback to yourself. So it starts on very early on in your childhood, right? It may start as that whenever you do something in the school, you come back and you, let's say, tell it to your parents, and they have a very avoidant reaction, like they don't pay attention to it, or they don't really look at it, or they don't appreciate you. They just make it seem as if it's something very normal, right? Or sometimes when they consistently criticize you, that, you know what, you're not doing this right enough, this is the mistake that you're making. They constantly criticize you. In their head, they're criticizing you because they think it's going to work, and that it's going to help you improve. But the feedback that you get is, I am not good enough, right? I'm not good enough to take chances in my life. I'm not good enough to do this. I'm not good enough to do that. So what you decide is that I'm not enough in this, so you abandon it. That is why something that you may notice in your life or people around you is that you may have a lot of hobbies growing up that you abandoned very early on in life. And if you look at why that happened, it is usually around the feedback that you got from the environment. Maybe somebody expressed displeasure, maybe somebody discouraged you. They told you that, why are you wasting time in this? Or somebody told you that, oh, you did it so bad. So instead of nurturing you, what you basically got was a very critical feedback. So what you understood inside of you is that I'm just not good enough here. Instead of understanding, which is something only an adult can understand, that this is something that is their opinion. For example, let's say if somebody comes and tells you something right now, assuming that you have a good relationship with yourself, you are not going to take the criticism very seriously because your frontal lobe is developed, so you will be able to sort of differentiate that, okay, somebody's opinion is somebody's opinion. I don't have to mold my life according to that. But a child does not have that understanding. So a child is very sensitive to whatever is going on in the environment. Another way a person develops enoughness is the attention and the love they receive from their parents. Because you have to understand that as a kid, whatever energy you receive from your parents, that is the amount of enoughness you feel inside of you. So, for example, when your parents are always very distracted, very busy, they're never really there for you. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that something toxic is happening. Of course, it can happen. That is also a case. But maybe they're always busy. They're just not there for you. They're never present for you. When all of that is happening, that can also create lack of enoughness. Because again, what is a child doing? A child is feeling that maybe something is wrong with me. That is why my mom is not paying attention to me or my dad is not paying attention to me. Similarly, if your parents are very critical of each other or you, right? Or there's always some shouting going on, there's a very volatile environment. Again, what you understand is that something is wrong with me and that is why it's happening. So another thing that may happen to people like this is they go in two directions. Okay, one is they can become control freaks from a sense that they analyze the environment. Like, they can become empathetic control freaks. They analyze the environment, they absorb, okay, this is how this person's mood is like, so I will behave like this with them. This is how this person's mood is like. So they become very um you know they become very sensitive and very intuitive about what a person is feeling, because they've had to regulate their own emotions according to the environment. Now, this is a whole separate topic. I discussed about it in drawing emotional boundaries as an empath. You can go and find that video on my YouTube channel. Um, so that can also happen. And another thing that can happen when there's a volatile environment is that you start to find faults in you, right? So for example, let's say that you get 80 out of 100 in your mathematics test. You come back from school and you show it to your let's say mother, and she doesn't really say something, maybe because she had a fight with, let's say, your grandmother, right? And that is why she didn't really say much. So you may blame yourself that, maybe I just got 80 out of 100, and that is why my mom never really did not really appreciate me. So you may find any or the other reason to blame yourself. Why? Because your parents are not there to regulate your emotions. As a child, you don't have the capacity to do so. So what you basically do is you take all the feedback. Either that feedback is consciously coming from your parents, which is regulated, emotionally regulated, healthy feedback, where your parents are healed enough to put aside their emotions and actually concentrate on you. When your parents are not healed enough, which is 99.99% the case, specifically in Indian households, right? Because like 98% of my clients are Indian, so I can tell you that. When that is the case, what is the feedback that you get is that, my mom is not happy enough, my mom is not excited enough, so maybe it's my fault. So whatever you hear in the environment, right? Your parents are, let's say, fighting about money, your parents are fighting about your dad's side of the family, mom's side of the family, whatever it is, right? You subconsciously start taking it onto yourself, and you start thinking that I am not good enough. It starts from there. Now this is the unconscious way, subconscious way, where where it is happening in a very subliminal way. Another is a conscious thing, where your parents are criticizing you, looking down on you, judging you, making you feel bad about yourself. Let's say they constantly judge you for your body. Let's say a relative always does that and your parents never correct that relative, or somebody or the other keeps on always doing it in the school and you don't feel safe enough to share it in your home, so you keep it inside of you. So basically the environment that you get inside in your house decides whether you are feeling enough or not, right? So enoughness is a feedback that you get from the environment as a child. When that feedback is not there, You absorb whatever is there. Because remember, inaction is also an action. You may say that, my parents never really criticized me, Rianchi, outwardly. Sure, they did not, but did they regulate you? Were they there for you? Did they really build up your self esteem? If that is not the case, then you absorbed anything that was there. So, conscious action is the only action that results into healthy parenting, okay? Which results into you building, you having a self esteem that comes from your parents. Otherwise, you're just absorbing whatever is going on. And that is why silent parents are not better than abusive parents, okay? They just do an equal amount of damage in a different way. It's just that their damage isn't very loud, right? So, that's one part. Second is reinforced beliefs. So after your childhood, the foundation is done there. It does not mean that the trauma that you have developed. So again, I just want to explain in one line what trauma really is. Trauma is every single time you have felt unsafe in your body and nobody was there to regulate your emotions after that. Okay, that is what results into trauma. Trauma is not that you feeling hurt. You can feel hurt. You are a human being. You will have many experiences like that. But after the hurt, did someone come, specifically your parents or any adult, did they come and actually regulate your emotions? They taught you how to regulate yourself. They taught you how to feel safe. For example, let's say you have a niece, and your niece comes and tells you that, you know what, somebody was teasing me in the school, right? And you make her understand what is bullying. Make her understand that there's nothing wrong with her. You tell her how to stand up for herself. What is that? That is you helping her regulate her emotions. When that is not there, that also results in trauma. Okay. Again, if you would like to understand how does trauma actually work, the different types of trauma that we develop in childhood and how it impacts your career and your romantic relationships and your life in general, I have a free 4-day bootcamp called Healing Childhood Trauma. You can find it in the feature section of my profile. You just have to swipe it, or you can just go on my top mid page and you can find it there as well. Okay, coming back to reinforced beliefs. So it does not mean that whatever has happened in the childhood, that's it, like your life is fucked, excuse my language. What happens is the reinforced beliefs that you get to hear again and again from different environment. Okay, for example, let's say that growing up, you had relatives around you who kind of body shamed you. Okay, who body shamed you, who told you, oh, you are this, you are that, XYZ. But you go to school and you have really supportive friends. You have really supportive friends, and you have really supportive cousins, and you have really supportive seniors and all that. And they constantly reinforce the fact that no, there's nothing wrong with you. You're a beautiful person inside and out. So what is happening is that even though that hurt was there, that trauma was there, that got developed in childhood, that made you feel that lack of enoughness, there are other people who are reinforcing a opposite positive belief, right? So that slowly melt away the negative experiences that you have had. But let's say you get experiences in your school also where people also body shame you, where let's say your teacher is body shaming you, your classmates are body shaming you, you're bullied right and then, and it again happens in college. So what is happening is that belief is becoming stronger and stronger. So now that belief becomes a very steady part of your identity, that I am somebody who's ugly. Okay, I'm somebody who's never going to look pretty or feel pretty, right? So it becomes a building block, of your identity. And this only goes away once you do your inner work, once you start doing trauma healing work. Okay, because it has become such a strong part of you that it doesn't really go away. This brings me to the next one, which is accumulated experiences. Okay, when you have accumulated experiences that signal a single belief again and again that belief becomes a very big part of your identity. For example, let's say for example, growing up, your parents always told you that making money is very hard. Okay, and that you don't have it in you. You don't have it in you to make money. Go out there and try to earn, then you will know what is it to make money. Let's say you come across that belief, and that starts to make you feel that you are somebody who will not be good enough to make money. Okay, and let's say you go to school, and again those just you see that very often. You see that mentality where people keep on expressing that making money is very hard. Then you go to college, you again listen to the same thing. So what you're going to do is when you go for your first job, you're going to go with that mentality that I'm not good enough, right? So you may not negotiate for an offer, for a higher package. You may not negotiate for a promotion. You may not negotiate for anything because that belief is now built, right? That belief is now built that making money is very hard, because I'm just not a good enough person, right, to make money. Whereas, let's say, you decide to start a startup in college, let's say, not even a startup, let's say side hustle. And because of that side hustle, you experience making money for the first time. So you have your own experiences, you learn through your own experiences that, oh, making money is not that hard. So it kind of breaks that wall. Okay, it starts breaking that wall. Let's say you start working and you start doing your inner work, you attend workshops and you do your inner work around your relationship with money and everything. So a new whole world opens up to you, that, oh, making money is not actually hard. That whatever my parents told me, it came from their experiences, right? It is not something that had to do with me. And that to make money, there is no magic that is required, it's just skill set. So based on your experiences, okay, excuse me. Okay, coming back. So based on your accumulated experiences, you start to either build a belief or you start to dismantle a belief. So it is not just the childhood that you go through, it is your entire life. And that is why when you do your inner work, it is a new chance at your life. Because what you are doing, you're doing a conscious dismantling. Now, here I want to mention a point, okay? This is, see, I'm not somebody who believes in luck or destiny a lot, okay? But here, what tends to happen is that, let's say, there is a friend and you, both of you grew up in a toxic household where both of you were criticized a lot. And let's say you grew up and you both went to different colleges. Your friend your friend had the luck to encounter good people. She made good friends, and as a result, they built up her self-esteem, they encouraged her to try new things, and as a result, she was able to undo a lot of damage that was done to her in childhood. Whereas you met really bad people in college, and you met people who discouraged you, were jealous of you, whatever. So that led to that belief, getting reinforced even more, that I'm not good enough, right? Now this is luck, okay? Somebody, you meeting certain kind of people or not. However, when you choose inner work as an adult, that is you choosing a conscious, that is you making a conscious decision to dismantle the old belief system, to let go of all your old childhood trauma and create a new life. And that is why inner work is truly a second magical chance at life, because you are not now relying on luck, you're not relying on anyone. See, because you don't have a choice in which house you're born into, what parents you're born into, you don't have any choice over that. But after a certain age, after 18, 19, after 2021, you do have complete control over your life. And that control, that authority, you will know how to use it well when you heal that childhood trauma, when you do inner work, right? And I'm not just talking about talking, I'm not just talking about therapy, I'm talking about trauma healing coaching. Okay, when you do deep inner work, when you truly release everything through systemic healing. Now, coming back to how does the lack of enoughness manifest in your life? Okay, before starting, I'll just check how we are doing internet wise. I think we're doing fine. Okay, let's go ahead. Now, how does this lack of enoughness manifest in your life, right? The first is procrastination. Now, a lot of people tend to think that procrastination is a time management problem. And if you have watched my previous live event on procrastination, if you have not, go to my YouTube channel. It is in the name Rianshi Agrawal. You'll be able to find it. Just type procrastination and you will find, I think I've done 2 or 3 live events on it. Procrastination is never ever a time management problem. Nobody in this world has a time management problem. Okay, let me give you this in writing. Okay, it is always a emotional management problem. So when you struggle with lack of enoughness, you have this deep seated uncertainty about whether you will succeed or not. Okay, you already have this belief that it's just not going to work out for me, right? So there is already this sense of defeatedness, there's already this sense of, what is the point, right? Or that no matter how much I try, it's just not going to work out for me. When that is the case, procrastination happens very automatically. Because first is, you don't want to feel that, okay? You don't want to feel defeated. You don't want to feel that failure, that supposed failure that you think will happen. And you keep on delaying things, right? You keep on delaying because you know that what's the point, right? You constantly feel that lack of enoughness. So that lack of enoughness leads to delaying of things. Think about it, right? Think about how quickly you go and do things that you feel confident about, right? Let's say that you are playing badminton with your friends and you're very good at it, right? You are very good at playing badminton. Tell me, how excited would you be to play it with your friends? Why? Because you know that, you know what, I'm good at it, like I'm really good at it. But imagine you have to go and play a game that you are not sure you will be good at. Would you be that excited? The answer is no, you won't. So when you struggle with lack of enoughness, it is the chances of you procrastinating things are very, very high. Now, coming to the second point is indecisiveness. When you feel that you are not enough, you become indecisive, because what you are trying to do is you are trying to control outside circumstances to kind of compensate for the lack of enoughness you're feeling inside of you. You think that this is not perfect enough, this is not done enough, or you are always looking for options because the dissatisfaction that you feel from inside about yourself, you think that you can compensate for it for something outside of you, right? So that is why it leads to you being indecisive. That is why it leads to, no, 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 this is not enough, no, no, that is not enough, this is not right, let me do this, let me do that. So you become a very indecisive person, because somebody who feels enough is also confident, right? So a confident person does not rely on other people and other things to shape experiences for them. They know that I am responsible, I am the creator of my reality, so I will make good, I will make great out of wherever I am. But when you feel lack of enoughness, you don't have that certainty inside of you. So you keep on, going round and round, you keep on procrastinating things and stuff like that. Now, third is playing small. Now, this is very obvious. When you feel that you are not enough, you're obviously going to play small. You will not go for opportunities that let's say somebody else may very well go for. You may always find reasons to justify that, no, no, I don't deserve more money, or I can't ask for it. No, I have to wait these many experiences, these many years, with and yada yada. You don't even want to try. The thing with people who lack enoughness is that they are very clever with coming up with reasons inside their head. Okay, they will not try also, and then they will justify that, oh, it was anyway, not possible, I don't have time, or that you require this many years of experience and all of that stuff. Basically, they're very smart in coming up with problems to justify why they can't go after what they deserve, right? Because again, it is easy to do that than to heal your lack of enoughness. So you may play very small, you may apply for jobs, or you may never start a business, or you may basically never take a chance on yourself. And here I want to mention something around qualification and experience. So with qualification experience, you have to understand that anybody in this world who ever did great, they never felt 100% ready for it. The difference between them and you is that they felt enoughness in themselves, and they were willing to develop the skills. What you are doing is, you are thinking that if I develop enough skills, somehow I will feel enough in myself, and those two are not related. Okay, you can be a PhD holder, you can be graduating from the best college in the world, whatever it is, but yet if you don't have the confidence inside of you, when you don't feel enough, you will never succeed at the level that you deserve to. Okay, and whereas somebody who has the audacity to go after things because they feel enough from inside, right? They will go and they will make do with things because they're willing to take chances. Now, coming to letting go of opportunities, this is an extension of the point I mentioned before. See, you have to understand that when you feel confident, okay, when you feel enough, when you believe that I deserve the best, you are somebody who basically tells the universe that I'm open to all opportunities. So you become very observant about what is going on in the world. You become observant in catching opportunities. Why? Because you feel ready. But somebody who does not feel enough never feels ready. So they become opportunity blind, right? This is the word that I have coined myself. It's opportunity blindness. Opportunity blindness is when something is in front of you but you don't want to do it, right? Let's say there's a business that you have been wanting to start, you will not start it. Why? I'm not enough, I'm not good enough to do it, that is why. Or let's say there's an investment opportunity which you and your friend find out both together, but your friend will invest in it and you will not. Why? Because he feels enough and you feel that I'm not enough, I'm not good enough to handle it, I'm not good enough to be able to do justice to it, so you will not. So the only difference between you and your friend is that he feels ready. He feels ready for things. You don't feel ready. So you become opportunity blind. And that is a very big setback because you can't earn everything through hard work. You have to be able to spot opportunities. You have to be able to capitalize on opportunities. right? The next is unfulfilled potential. So when you feel that you are not enough, you struggle with unfulfilled potential because you have, see, what is potential? Okay. Potential is basically the gap between who you can become and where you are right now. So unfulfilled potential is when you never take the chance to find out who you can become. Again, why? Because you don't feel enough. You don't feel that I'm good enough to actually make that leap. You don't feel that I'm good enough to actually um, go to that extent that I will be able to find out what my potential is. So you stay stuck. You are there where you are. And this can happen in your relationship, this can happen at your work, this can happen anywhere in life. Because potential is everywhere. So to be able to fulfill your potential, you actually have to feel that no, I'm good enough to actually go out there and get that. When that is not there, you will struggle with unfulfilled potential. The last is toxic situations and toxic people. Now, tell me if you are, okay, give me a moment. Tell me that if you are, let's say, in a friendship where you have started discovering that your friend is somebody who's passing very passive aggressive comments to you, has become very critical, has become very um like kind of looks down on you, very very judgmental and all of that, so it's becoming a toxic situation. Tell me who is a person who will walk out of that friendship or take a stand for themselves. Somebody who feels that they're not good enough or somebody who feels that they're good enough. Somebody who feels that they're good enough is not going to tolerate this behavior. Why? Because they're internally very secure. The confidence is there from inside. But somebody who does not have that is going to justify their friend's behavior. They may probably even think that no, I deserve it, or that you know what, no, I can't let go of this friend because of this. Why? Because deep down they believe that they deserve it. Deep down they believe that this is not a big deal. And that is why people who feel they're not good enough are usually the people who end up with toxic partners and with toxic colleagues, with toxic friends, because they are not willing to leave a situation because they don't actually believe they deserve better. That is what lack of enoughness does. It slowly brings down your standards to a level where you can't recognize yourself. And unfortunately, these are the people who tend to attract narcissistic people in their life, toxic people in their life who take advantage. See, I'll tell you what, deeply secure people and confident people don't attract narcissists. Never. Because they're very sure of themselves. Narcissists and people who are manipulative prey on people who don't have a good self esteem because they're easy to manipulate. A narcissist will never come near you if they sense that you're internally secure and confident because you can call out their bullshit. They will only go towards money people who are easy to manipulate, people who deeply believe that they are not enough, right? So if you are somebody who constantly finds yourself in situations like this where you're being taken advantage of, where you are where you're in a situation where people manipulate you, take advantage of you, check within. What is it about you that keeps on creating these people? Because you have to understand that when something happens once or twice, it's a coincidence. When it's a pattern, it's something that you are choosing. It is something within you that is attracting these people in your energy, right? Now, coming to the last point, which is how do we overcome this? How do we overcome this lack of enoughness? Okay, before I do, I'm just going to check my internet again. Okay, I think we are doing fine. Actually, I can't tell. Oh my god, I really can't tell. Okay, I don't know. I can't tell. For some reason, my phone screen is also stuck. Okay, yeah, I can tell now. Yeah, we're doing fine internet wise. All right, coming to the last point of discussion, which is how do you overcome this lack of enoughness? Now, I'm going to give you a few pointers to reflect on. Now, again, you have to understand that lack of enoughness starts very early on, as I've explained to you in the beginning of the discussion. It starts from your childhood. So there are certain patterns that that has already become a part of your identity, and it is at a very deep rooted level. Okay, so you can't expect that these are things that you will be able to change simply through the things that I am telling you right now, through conscious creation, because this has become a part of your subconscious programming now. Like it's become a part of your identity. Like it happens naturally to you. You know, like if you are a right hand person, you pick up the pen from right hand, right? So it's become that natural to you. Lack of enoughness. So that will only go when you do inner work. It is something that I do with my clients as well in my trauma healing coaching sessions. So if you would like to work with me, you can drop me a DM coaching, or you can book a session with me. You can find the link in the top end page. And if you would like to work with someone else, you can do that too. But please work on it, okay? Because if this is something that you've struggled with for a very long time, just work on it, okay? Don't delay it. The price that you pay over a period of time, right? It compounds, okay? It compounds. And I can tell you from experience, being a professional coach for 4.5 years now, I have had so many people sit across the screen from me and tell me that I wish I started earlier. I wish I did my inner work earlier. I wish I did not waste so much time in this area. Now, of course, I can't tell them anything because at least they're doing it now. But if you are listening to this, and if you recognize this problem, just please work on it. Okay. I don't care who you work with, but please work on it. Do not let it get bad to an extent where there is nothing but regret left, because regret does come. That I can guarantee you. When you don't work on yourself, regret is waiting for you at the end of the destination, at the end of the road. Okay. Now, that's the unconscious work that you absolutely have to do. It's non-negotiable. Okay, inner work is non-negotiable. Now, let's come to what are some conscious things that you can start practicing in your life. Okay, the very first is separate enoughness as a feeling from what requires skill set. Now, what do I mean by this? Often, people before making a decision in their life, let's say regarding a partner, regarding a career, regarding starting something, regarding their health, whatever it is, they tend to come from a place of feeling of enoughness. They tend to think that I'm not good enough. And my question to you is enoughness really required to establish this? For example, let's say I'm doing this live event right now. Okay. I had to open my laptop. I made a couple of pointers here, a few pointers here on my notebook so that I can, talk to you guys without forgetting something. And I'm here talking to you. Can you tell looking at me, do I feel enough or do I not feel enough? Now, you may feel that I feel enough because, of course, you can sense my energy. But really, can you, apart from that? So, did I really need to feel enough to come here? Did I really need to have the skill set to just come on the camera and speak whatever it is that I want to speak and have a little bit of common sense about writing something, right? So, most things in life you don't require feelings. You require a certain skill set. For example, let's say you want to approach somebody, and you like someone, you want to approach them. You don't need to feel enough for that. I mean, of course, it's something that's necessary, nice to have, great to have. But what you do need is communication skills. What you do need is going up there and actually starting a conversation. So oftentimes in life, you don't need to feel confident before starting something. You just need to start it. You need certain skill set, and most of the times you have those skills. If you don't have it, just go develop those skills, right? And again, reiterating, this is the conscious way of creating it. This is not going to take away your feeling of lack of enoughness. Unless and until you don't heal the childhood trauma around it, you will keep coming back to it. I'm just separating both of these sections so that you have something that you can start on. But inner work is non negotiable. Okay. Coming to the second point, prioritize courage over preparedness. Now, a lot of times people who feel lack of enoughness tend to wait for feeling prepared. They feel one day I will feel prepared, and they never feel it because they think that if they prepare enough, this lack of enoughness inside of them will go away. Instead of measuring your life based on how prepared you are, can you measure it in terms of how much courage you are showing? Instead of feeling that, oh, I feel completely prepared, can you feel maybe 60% prepared and 40% can be courage? That you come from a place of courage, that you come from a place of that, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it because this is necessary. I'm just going to do it because this is the right thing to do, right? So can your waiting for preparedness be replaced with courage? That, you know what, I'm going to do it because it's good for me. It's something that I need to do. Because no, not everything in life you're going to feel prepared for, especially if you have not done your inner work. If you have not done your inner work, forget feeling prepared, forget feeling enough. So can you start having courage in life? Can you start saying that, you know what, I'm afraid, I'm very afraid, I'm shit scared, but I'm going to do it anyway? Can you feel the fear and do it anyway? Can that be the parameter in your life? Third, choose enoughness as a decision. Right now, this is going to be a bit tricky if you've not done your inner work, but enoughness can be a decision. A decision, like enoughness as a decision, looks like saying that whatever it is that I am, whatever it is that I'm doing, it is enough for me. It is enough for the situation, it is enough for me, and it is enough for whoever is in front of me or whatever is in front of me. That is how you choose enoughness. It's a decision that there is nothing more that is required. It can be an affirmation as well for you. The last thing is give what you already have before jumping to conclusions. Now, the problem that a lot of people who don't feel enough is that they don't actually give what they have. They will wait. They will wait that one day I will feel even more prepared and then I will do it. For example, let's say that I'm coming to you and sharing something about lack of enoughness. Now, does it mean that I have all the information in the world? Does it mean that I can cover everything in a 45, 46-minute live event? Of course not. But can I come here and just share whatever it is that I do know? People who lack enoughness don't come from that mindset, right? Maybe something will come to me later. I will make another live event, right? I don't care. But people who lack enoughness think that there is only one chance in life. That's it. Only one I can once I can do perfect thing in life. This is a illusion, right? You know that perfectionism. This is not something to be proud of. This is an illusion. This is a disguise that you hide behind because you don't want to put yourself out there. So wherever you are, whatever you have, can you go out there and just put that out there? Whatever it is that you have. Maybe you're going for an interview, maybe you want to approach somebody, maybe you want to become a content creator, maybe you want to become a coach, whatever it is. Can you take what you have and just put that out there before you jump to any conclusion? Because action creates, even moving 2 steps, 3 steps creates far more progress than just waiting and thinking one day I will take 100 steps. That doesn't work. Never happens. Never happens. I've worked with enough people to just tell you that right on your face. Does not work. Okay. Now that's it for me today. That's all I wanted to share with you guys. I'm going to do one more live event this week, so you can keep a lookout for that. Again, mentioning lack of enoughness is a very deep rooted feeling. Inner work is non-negotiable there. Okay. Whatever I have suggested you, it is something that you can kind of look at it as yardstick, that you know what, this is something that I can come back to again and again. It can be grounded questions that ground you, but it is not something that can replace inner work. Okay, that I'm just telling you right away so that you are not confused, because childhood trauma is not something that you can talk out of, think out of, meditate out of. It is something that requires systemic healing. And if you are somebody who would like to do deep inner work and you would like to permanently come out of the problems that you're experiencing in your personal or professional life, you're very welcome to work with me as well. You can book your first session by DMing me coaching, and I have tons of free resources. So if you feel that right now I don't have enough energy or enough money to invest in my inner work, go watch a lot of the free resources that I've done. You're going to get tremendous help there. I also have a free community called the Safe Space, where I do free group coaching every month. If you would like to talk to me there, you can join that community and you can come and you can talk to me. You can get coached. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.